Have you ever sat in the silence and pondered if your scream had any significance? My child, not the shouted proclamations or practiced lines, but the quiet broken moans that only I can hear. Have you ever had the impression that your words were lost in the whirlwinds of the storm, engulfed by mayhem and overpowered by the voices of uncertainty and fear? I heard every sound, I'll tell you now. I always have. I had been close long before your voice shook. That was more than sufficient, even in those times when all you could manage was a whisper of my name, just enough breath to utter Jesus. When all that remains unsaid, unhealed and unresolved weighs on your soul, and the darkness presses in around you. I was present, your prayers were not in vain. You invoked the one who carved serenity into the very center of the tempest, who placed the sea within its bounds, and who breathed the stars into being type 111. If you are ready to welcome God's miracles into your life, I can tell that you're confused. I hear the thoughts that echo, like why hasn't anything changed? But you won't utter them out loud. Can he hear me? Am I doing this incorrectly? I want you to understand something profound and sacred. I don't fear your inquiries. I'm not afraid of your uncertainties. When your trust wanes, I don't give up. Your unvarnished honesty really draws me in. You know, prayer is not a control mechanism that I invented. It was an offer to connect that I extended to you. Prayer serves as a bridge between your soul and mine, not a tool to change your life. It's what connects. You're shuddering to my unwavering power. You believe that the outcomes are the miracle. The fact that you continue to pray, my darling, is a miracle. Reaching still hopeful, if only in fragments, even in the midst of suffering. That brittle faith has strength. The adversary wants you to believe that indifference is smarter than vulnerability, and that quiet is safer than honesty. However, every word you say to me is an act of spiritual warfare, particularly when you want to give up. Do you get that? Each prayer is an effort to combat the darkness. Fear resists every utterance of Jesus. Help me, you proclaim that the storm is not your king. I am every time you utter my name. With clenched teeth or wet lips, you don't have to hold off on talking to me until you're at ease. Before you arrive, you don't need to repair yourself. Come on, shaky. Arrive broken. Be irritated. I'm able to handle anything. I respond without waiting for the storm to stop. From within it I speak. Chaos does not silence me. My voice is louder than it. Silence is not necessary for me to be heard. I don't have to be flawless to reply. I come in when your spirit just turns toward me, not when you're powerful. Yes, there are moments when I quiet the storm, and the difference is immediately apparent. The doors open, the whines cease, and the mending begins. The calm I am still in your spirit, while the storm is still howling, however, is perhaps my greatest miracle. The change takes place within you, not around you, my child. Walk boldly in faith and love. With your super thanksgiving, let the truth of my word reach those who long for the light. Join me in this divine mission to heal and uplift. Click on the super thanksgiving button and be enveloped in my grace. Now, and listen to this message further. You're not offering prayers to a far-off God who expects perfection. You are addressing your Father, your Shepherd, and your Savior in a sea of billions. I recognize your voice, I can identify your scream. In the same way that a parent can identify their child's breath, I'm not counting your emotions or reevaluating your language. I'm anticipating your heart. If you believe in miracles, type 222 and forward this video to 7 people who need faith. And more than anything, I want you to trust me rather than do things for me. It was never intended for prayer to be a show. It's an invitation to know me, not a presentation to impress me. I collect your prayer like gold, even if it is simply the word help. More is happening than meets the eye. The spiritual world moves when you pray, even if you don't feel anything, or the environment around you doesn't change. Angels are set free, the river of peace starts. Like living water poured into a dry well, strength is deposited into your soul. Your soul reestablishes when you speak. It grounds itself in me rather than in what is seen. And gradually those little petitions, those little sentences start to sprout. Some grow rapidly, others spend a season underground. However, none are overlooked. Not one prayer is in vain. Every single tear is visible. Every sigh, every stutter, every holy silence, I have them all. If necessary, come in a rage. Arrive bewildered, get tired. Your dirty aching, doubtful heart will never leave me. You're quiet when you think. I'm not listening is what turns me off, not your honesty. Don't let embarrassment separate us. Refrain from waiting until you feel worthy. You didn't have to be deserving. You were already mine before your words. My blood spoke talk again. Even today, even worn out, even unsure, let me in. Allow me to fill in the empty spaces. The storm won't have the last word. The quiet is coming even if you can't see it now. And I'm with you in the interim, not observing from afar. I'm not passing judgment in the boat. The valley, the fire, and the flood. I am with you. What you're carrying, I know. I understand what you're scared to speak out loud. I understand your conflict between letting go and trusting. You are never alone, however. Even in this, being tired is not the reason you are failing. Fear does not mean you are unfaithful. You are human, and I choose to join you in that humanity. I cried I was bleeding. I said a prayer. I know it seems like nothing occurs when you pray. The illness persists even after you seek for healing. You beg for a breakthrough, but nothing changes. I am aware of how depressing that may be. Listen up, kid. Delayed responses are not rejected ones. There are instances when I'm accomplishing more than meets the eye. You're not being ignored. Something that will endure the storm is what I'm preparing. I'm becoming more resilient. My trust is growing in the silence and in the trembling. I am training you to hear my voice. Type 333 if you feel God's presence in your life. Just because the answer hasn't come yet doesn't mean you should give up praying. Continue talking. Continue knocking. Your perseverance maintains your soul. Open link to and awake. Not because I'm hesitant. Mountains move in this manner, not necessarily with a yell, but sometimes with an unstoppable murmur. Not always with fire, but with faith that endures. Even when the flame flickers, this is how bonds come loose. You conquer by praying in an honest, constant, unvarnished, and genuine manner. Don't wait till everything seems perfect. Then don't wait for rhythm or eloquence. Now come just like you are, using what you've got, and talk to me. I'm present, I'm paying attention. And even though you can't see it yet, I'm moving again, even in a quiet voice. The mood changes, the ghost comes to life. Your body has forgotten that I am here, but your spirit remembers. For you I stand. You contain me, I am sufficient. Right, Jesus. I still believe in the comment section. Despite the storm, your love and support mean everything to us. As we continue sharing God's message of hope, faith, and blessings. If this message has touched your heart, we humbly invite you to show your gratitude by giving at least $11. Super thanks are your choice each month. Whoever can give super thanks, please give as much as possible. And whoever cannot, please try to read this message completely. Your generosity helps us create more uplifting content that inspires souls and brings people closer to God. By clicking the Super Thanks button below, you're not just supporting our work, you're becoming a part of this divine mission to spread God's love to those who need it most. Thank you for your kindness. Stay blessed, stay joyful, and may God's grace always be with you. I see you, my darling child, just where you are. I see the times when you fall into silence, not because you are at a loss for words, but rather because life has exhausted you. You have sobbed till you were left with nothing else to say or cry, just the anguish of an overtaken soul. However, I am not far away. Even in that stillness I decipher the quiet. I read the pain, I can relate to the informed cries. When you are unable to pray for yourself, my spirit reaches into the depths of your heart. There is no waste, not even a moan, not even a breath. You have dared to elevate your heart toward me while being in the middle of turmoil. Even though you may have felt empty, it has been acknowledged that you persisted in looking for me, even though it would have been simpler to quit out. And I honor you for that. My dear, you're not weak. We don't forget you. There is yet hope for you. If you know God is good, type for 144 and share this video with 7 people who believe. I am aware that it might be confusing at times. The storm continues to rage even after you pour your heart out to me. The wind continues to blow even as you say my name. Why hasn't it changed is your hidden inquiry. And I hear it, I know how much you want serenity. However, prayer was never a panacea for suffering. You are carried through it by the bridge. You see, the goal is to remain connected to me, even while the waves roar, not to manage the storm. You're learning how to abide, not simply getting by something intangible. But everlasting is taking place when you pray through suffering. Your soul is becoming anchored, even if all else remains same. You're learning to hear my voice in the strain of the desert as well as in praise songs. You are discovering that I am the God of the process, as well as the God of victory. I do sometimes move quickly, and you have seen that. However, there are other times of year when I work in layers and quietly. It hurts to watch others get prompt responses, don't you think? You question why it takes longer to perform your miracle. However, kid, your journey is designed and not postponed. I'm working on something more complex. I'm shaping you through it. In addition to fulfilling your petition, I'm giving you the strength to endure. Long after the storm has gone, I'm making your root so strong that they won't be uprooted by the wind. You are developing into a person who not only endures adversity, but also serves as a shelter for others. Your life is turning into evidence that my love is not defined by storms. They make my presence known. Avoid confusion. I didn't say anything since I was away. I'm paying more attention than ever when I seem to be silent. I sometimes take a step back, not in distance but in perspective, much as a great painter does. Something lovely and complex is being shaped by me. If I responded to all of your prayers at once, you wouldn't see the artwork. Only brush strokes would be visible to you. But I want you to see the whole painting. I would for you to see the beauty in the trip, the depth in the delays, and the grace in the darkness. It takes more than ease to create the beauty that is growing within of you. Faith in the midst of the storm. Fire is refining it. Heaven leans in every time you pray, even if it seems little, repetitious, or even feeble to you. I move when you talk, even if it's softly. Angels are sent forth, chains start to deteriorate. The darkness starts to fade to affirm your faith. Type 555 and like this video if you believe the shift is occurring, even if you can't see it now. I am bringing things into alignment that you were unaware were out of alignment. You are being healed by me in areas you were unaware were damaged. Things that have seemed stuck for years are being moved. Your heart was open, not because your words were flawless. More important than eloquence is your genuineness. I'm invited in by your candor. Don't be scared to say things again. Don't feel guilty about asking repeatedly. Your voice never gets old, to me never. When you return with the same desire, I don't roll my eyes. I want a relationship, not a show. Therefore I welcome you again and again. Our relationship becomes stronger. Each time you talk to me, your confidence increases. Your heart becomes softer. Something is changing on the inside, even if nothing changes on the exterior. And that change that is the start of healing. Strength is developed in this way. That is the root of miracles. Prayer is more than a passing moment. It is your life stance. It's the continuous turning of your heart toward me. Not the few words you utter, how your hands are folded. By praying, you are resisting the delusion that suffering has the last say. I still believe he is good. You remark, that's one of the most potent things you can do, particularly when it's dark. It's battle, not simply survival. Additionally, you affirm something timeless each time you pray. Amid a storm, I still trust him. You believe that in order to touch my heart, a lengthy poetic prayer is necessary. However, a single Jesus whisper has more impact than 1,000 meaningless words, my kid. The heart, not to loudness, is what I react to. Light starts to move as you utter my name in the dark. Even with shaky trust, I join your circumstance with calm. When you welcome me in, I can promise you that something sacred is already taking place, even if you aren't able to sense the shift just yet. Yes, unexpected miracles do occur. However, I work in slow splendor as well. Inconsistent advances in silent metamorphosis. Have faith in both, anticipate both. I move in both. Every storm has a purpose, but none endure forever. Perseverance is being produced by the pressure, even if you may not see it right now. Clarity is being carved out of the turmoil. Wisdom is being formed by waiting. If you trust in God's protection, type 666 and forward this video to 7 others. And I am aware that there are moments when it seems like the storm is all you are aware of. However, your narrative doesn't finish here. This isn't your forever will cease raining. The winds will subside when they do. You'll be able to look back and see who you became, in addition to what you endured. A prayer warrior, a peace-carrying watercraft. Someone who understands me not only in times of comfort, but in times of distress. This storm is forming you, not just your tail. You're learning to pray with your life, not just your words. You're finding the type of faith that endures in the face of incomprehension. You are becoming into a person who brings my presence into the dark, rather than just pleading for salvation. Someone who can say, I've been through it. And he was faithful while sitting next to the suffering. You're turning into a lighthouse anchored, stable and shining. When their own storms flare, others will find strength in your narrative to continue praying. My voice endures even when the storm overpowers all else. It may not always be loud or instantaneous, as you may have anticipated. However, I continue to speak via the scriptures, which come to life at night, through the tune that suddenly lifts your soul, through the unexpected calm in the midst of pandemonium. You're learning to hear me in whispers, as well as thunder in the moment, as well as the miraculous and hallowed ground. Is that dear? Therefore you are making a declaration, one that will reverberate forever. When you pray through the storm, even if your hands shake and your voice falters, you're stating that your connection with me is not defined by suffering. You're saying that your religion won't be silenced. You're saying that hope has a voice, despite its fragility. He is still God, you are telling the earth and the skies. He is still doing well and I remain His. I respond to you by saying you are mine. They see you, we've heard you. You are also like to enter the following in the comments. Jesus, I still choose to trust you, even in the storm. You are carrying more than you were intended to. I see how anxiousness encroaches like a grasp that becomes tighter around your chest. I notice the fog like thickness that makes it difficult to think, breathe, and hope. People don't always notice the weight you bear, but I see and you've learned to keep going, even when your spirit is limping. If you are ready to embrace God's love, type 777 and share this video. I see it during the early hours when you are unable to fall asleep. I notice it in the silent times when you're trying not to cry. I don't take it lightly, since I can see how strong it is to get through a single day. I'm not that far away, my darling. With each breath you take, I am walking by you. What you've been trying so hard to bear alone, I'm holding. You've fallen for the myth that strength equates to indecision. However, real strength, the type one offer, comes from giving up, not from acting. It may be discovered by allowing me entry. It is discovered when you pray, even when your voice falters. It's not always necessary to speak. The most sacred times are sometimes when you just sit with me, exhausted and shattered, and just be. You don't have to perform. Nothing needs to be fixed. Allow me to hold you. Silence that has been given up has power. Even in the absence of a song, when you turn your face toward me, there is adoration in your fatigue. I consider it prayer when you are left with nothing more than a tear or a sigh. Every tear catches my eye. I interpret each pain. Heaven hears what my spirit says, that your heart cannot, even though you may not realize it. You are developing here within the suffering. Not in spite of it, the furnace is forming you, not destroying you, in order to create something immortal in you. I am employing every pressure, every unsolved question, and every night of wondering and waiting. You're not in the rear. You're not to damage. You're still eligible. You're becoming, transforming into a somebody with unwavering compassion. Become someone who, even in the dark, listens for my voice, transforming into a manifestation of grace. My grace. Don't base your value on your output or achievements. Take a look at what your heart is cultivating. I produced my best work there. You could trip, you may wonder. You may even want to give up. However, my love is not brittle. Your constancy is not a determining factor. When you're about to collapse, it keeps you in place. When everything else seems questionable, it remains. My love says you are enough because I chose you. Even when the world's demands push you to do more, earn more and prove more. Clarity and achievement don't define who you are. It may be discovered in the steadfast realization that you are mine, and I'll remind you of this as often as necessary, again and again. You question if your history negated your mission. You sense failure when you examine your errors. But a tale is still developing. In my opinion, I watched the ashes being transformed into beauty. In my hands, nothing is wasted. Not on your darkest days, not your most serious injuries. Not even when you ran away from me. I am the redeeming God. I fix what's broken, not throw it away. I intentionally redo the hard chapters rather than deleting them. Someone else will be lifted by the testimony of the storm that attempted to destroy you. My grace will be most evident in the exact situations when you felt like you failed. If you believe God has a plan for you, Type Palman and share this video to spread hope. Let go of your attempt to be powerful without me. You were never intended to save yourself. I'm not searching for perfect lifestyles or well-crafted prayers. I'm searching for willing hearts. Your frailty is a gateway, not a barrier to me. It's where my power is unrestricted. You don't have to keep your displeasure from me. The aspects of yourself that seem unworthy don't have to be hidden. Even though I already know everything, I still say come when you collapse. Let me be the one to hold you. When you are at your weakest, let me be the one to stand up for you. Allow me to be the one to identify you, redeemed rather than rejected, adored, not deserted, forever mine but not forgotten. The storm you are now experiencing will pass. The waves will subside, there will be cloud breaks. There will be dawn after the night. However, I shall remain here even when the storm has passed. What I am creating in you is enduring self, confidence in my identity, not fleeting solace. Prayer will remain your fulcrum, even when the calm returns. You'll talk to me because we're deeply connected, not simply because you're desperate. Intimacy is developed in this way, via the solitude and throughout the storms. This is the way that reliance on me, not comfort, fortifies your soul. I see you rising even if you don't feel powerful yet. You get up every time you pray, even if your lips are shaking. When choosing love makes it simpler to be bitter, you always come out on top. You get up each time you resist the urge to let go, when it would be simpler to let go. And you'll see it too, one day, the strength, not just the scars, the purpose as well as the agony. You'll see how far we've come because I was faithful, not because the journey was simple. You'll realize you weren't broken by the storm. You were built by it. It revealed what was always there in you, the love I never withheld, the identity I created, and the resilience I sowed. Thus return to me repeatedly. Come when you're exhausted. Come when you're lost. Come when you don't feel worthy. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going to change. My arms are constantly outstretched. If you trust in God's grace, type 888 and forward this video to 7 others. Make prayer your way back, your reminder, and your place to rest, not a job, not a show, a house. I am close even as you read this, nearer than your breath. Talking over you, I'm singing over you, I'm holding you, and until the storm passes and even after, I will keep walking by you. Because you're doing more than simply getting by. You're evolving and you're turning into something lovely. Write in the comments, I am who Jesus says I am, not what the storm says I am. Please subscribe to support our channel and turn on bell notification.